Imagine a universal yet psychologically devastating scene that inevitably occurs in every couple and that kills a relationship faster than any betrayal, a scene of emotional chaos. You find yourself inside this devastating whirlwind of emotions, where logic is disabled and only pain and the need for immediate validation reign supreme. You lose your voice from screaming, your mind is flooded with tears, you try to break through the wall of his detachment through an avalanche of accusations, demands, and manipulative words, hoping that your emotional energy will force him to surrender. This is your hysteria, your desperate demand for attention and control. And he becomes motionless, as if frozen, his body tense, but he doesn't react. He remains cold, strategically silent. His mind has long since left the room, locked in a mental fortress that you are trying to storm. Your brain, obeying its relationship survival instinct, falsely convinces you that your emotional intensity is irrefutable proof of your absolute rightness and the depth of your unbearable pain, and it is obliged to acknowledge this. But in reality, in this invisible battle of two conflicting emotional strategies, chaos versus silence, you inevitably lose with every spoken and uncontrolled phrase, with every new surge of demand. The truth of gender psychology that no one will tell you is shocking in its simplicity. In any conflict, the winner is not the one who speaks louder, nor the one who feels more strongly, but only the one who absolutely masters the power of controlled silence. The secret of effective communication and attraction, hysteria, is a direct admission of loss of control over your state and the situation. Silence, on the other hand, is the highest form of control, confidence, and independence from others' reactions. We will reveal the dark psychology of these two opposing brain states and show you how to transform your emotions from destructive chaos into an instrument of strategic and controlled power that compels your partner to listen. The myth we're debunking: we are emotionally convinced that immediate, intense emotional release and full expression of pain will inevitably lead to rapid understanding, problem resolution, and a stronger relationship. The truth: your uncontrolled emotional outburst immediately triggers your partner's brain to activate a psychological defense mechanism, blocking any opportunity for constructive communication and recognition of your point of view. Your mind tells you that loud shouting creates a sense of urgency and importance for your problem. Their brain interprets this solely as a threat, requiring immediate psychological retreat and conservation of energy. Insight number 1: the psychology of losing the frame of value and control. Practical psychology and social dynamics say, the value frame in any relationship is set by the one who remains calm, who acts intentionally, and who least needs an immediate response or approval from their partner. Hysteria is the most vivid and desperate manifestation of a loss of control and your extreme emotional dependence on their reaction. You clearly demonstrate that you desperately need their response and their recognition to restore your inner order. Your partner's silence in response to your chaos is instinctively interpreted as strength, as absolute independence. They demonstrate with their mind that they will not respond to your emotional blackmail and that they will not submit to your pressure. Mini story: you create an uncontrollable scene over a trivial matter, demanding immediate acknowledgement and an apology. They respond with absolute silence and retreat into their mental cave. Your hysteria quickly turns into white noise, which they ignore for legitimate psychological reasons. Secret: every emotional outburst relieves your partner of any responsibility for your internal emotional order and dramatically destroys your value frame in their eyes. Insight number 2: the brain in defense and blocking mode. The dark truth of neuroscience: the moment you start yelling and resorting to personal attacks, you activate the ancient instinctive fight or flight mode in your partner's brain. In this state of mind, they don't listen to your logical arguments and feel no empathy. They perceive a clear threat to their psychological or physical space. Their mind closes off to any logic, blocking information. Silence at this moment is the ultimate form of strategic retreat and energy conservation for them, protecting them from your emotional chaos and demonstrating their self-control and independence. The philosophy of communication teaches, you will never be able to win a dialogue and achieve understanding if your opponent feels threatened, controlled, and forced to act out of fear. Secret: hysteria is the tool of the emotionally weak, who desperately demands external control over another. Silence is the tool of the strong, who are already in complete control of their own state and don't need anyone else's reaction. Your behavior must be recoded from reactive chaos to strategic restraint. Remember, an emotional outburst is always permission to violate your own framework and an admission of your inability to control your own mind. Silence is the first step to regaining sovereignty over your inner world and external communication. Insight number 3: controlling the pause and accumulating attraction. The true power of silence in conflict lies in its ability to create a mental pause. A pause is a psychological vacuum that the human mind instinctively seeks to fill and resolve due to an intolerance of incompleteness. When you deliberately remain silent, you effectively shift the burden of communication, responsibility, and conflict resolution onto your partner. They find themselves in a situation where they must rethink the situation and your new, incomprehensible emotional level. Your controlled silence creates a powerful, invisible tension and activates a threat detector in their psyche, forcing them to wonder, what is she thinking? What will she do next? This is the psychology of attraction and the struggle for control. A mini story of strategic communication. Instead of responding with a shout, you clearly, calmly, and authoritatively state, I understand, but conversation is impossible right now. I need time to think, and then retreat into complete, impenetrable silence. Silence becomes your most powerful argument, forcing him to seek dialogue on your terms. Secret, your silence begins to function as an independent detector of his own emotions and behavior. If he's uncomfortable with your silence, it means he's losing control and is forced to adapt to your framework. Emotions, from insecurity and need to autonomy and confidence. You become hysterical because you feel deeply insecure and lose control over the external situation and your partner's reaction. You mistakenly try to compensate for your internal fear with external chaos. Your pain lies in your attempt to gain respect and recognition through a display of weakness, an emotional breakdown, which is the quickest way to alienate him. Awareness leads to inner liberation. Your true strength lies in self-control. Silence is a choice to control your internal reaction and state, rather than wasting energy trying to control someone else's reaction. Power practice. In moments of escalating conflict, immediately pause. Do not say anything that could be used against you. Shift your focus to your breathing and physical state, restoring inner order. Your silence demonstrates your willingness to withdraw from dialogue and set a boundary if it ceases to be constructive and respectful. This is your highest and most unwavering value. Your life philosophy. Silence is your personal boundary that protects your psyche and mental health from external emotional chaos and manipulation. Your thinking must radically shift. Control over your own emotions is your most powerful and most effective weapon in gender dynamics and in any communication. The secret of confidence. You will never find true power if your state depends on another person's external reaction or approval. Your power is within. Silence gives you critical time to reflect and return with clear, logical, unemotional, and authoritative communication, not heated, emotional accusations. Your autonomy is manifested solely in your ability to choose when and how you speak, and when you remain silent. You set the rules of the game. Hysteria is a desperate demand for attention and love from a victim's perspective. Silence is a calm invitation to respect from the perspective of an equal and powerful partner. Your silence forces your partner to act to break the unbearable tension, which automatically transfers psychological control over the future dynamics of the relationship to you. End with power. Hysteria is a destructive noise that destroys your value and authority. Silence is powerful music that restores your power and value framework. Gender psychology of conflict revealed. In any communication, the winner is not the one who loses control and screams, but only the one who strategically remains silent, because he controls his state and frame.